Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. I'm really glad you're here today. You know, we have spent a fair amount of time lately, particularly in view of a lot of political things that are going on, really focusing on how we really need to push back against this darker, heavier energy. We have witnessed real examples of what I would call evil over the last few years, and frankly, few decades. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to get a higher vibrational look at behavior that is evil and what it does and what effect it has and how it can be mitigated, canceled, shifted, sent to the light. Okay. Now I will tell you, this is in the Masudius information. So just so you have it for reference. If you spell evil backwards, you get live. So in the broadest sense, it is about living your life backwards or making backwards choices that, do not propel you forward, right? And devil, again, you get lived backwards. So just keep those references in mind. They, in some way, take some of, I guess, the sting or the stigma out of the actual words. And that maybe is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so let's get started. So, Masudius, can you please step forward and bring us some information, insights, guidance having to do with evil? The things that go on in the world that are so outside of the light. And while we understand that there is absolute free will and people really can make choices to behave this way, and in fact, we even understand that sometimes people offer to behave that way to show those around them certain behaviors that maybe need to be looked at. Even understanding that, can we please get some clarity on the energy behind evil and how to bring that evil into the light? That was a really long-winded question, eh? Again, a very interesting and insightful question, particularly given the circumstances, even as far as the shift in vibrational dimensional energy, even as there is a growing awareness of lifting the vibration and vibrating at a higher, more in the light level. Indeed, one of the very forces that you struggle against in this hope to elevate the vibrational energy of your earth is exactly the fact that you have opposing energy that also has power and strength pushing against an energy and a place that is a little bit more harmonic and peaceful. So, as you know, human emotions are on a range. And, many say that that hate is the opposite of love. In fact, the opposite of love is apathy. It is simply not caring, not being able to care. In any case, human emotions are on a level. There is, you start with the very lowest, deepest, darkest vibrations, energies like anger, hate, slavery, physical, mental, emotional, cruelty, physical, mental, emotional. And you move from that, and the degree of heaviness or darkness connected to the emotion continues to lighten as this journey through the emotional spectrum continues. So eventually you get to emotions that are sort of neutral. They don't really carry a strong punch in either direction. And oftentimes, it is in those more centric or neutral emotions that, frankly, most people live and reside. It is also those emotions that can be utilized to create environments of healing. Now, as you continue that journey through the spectrum, you move into energies of hope, excitement, love, passion. Now understand, the entire range of emotions is within this spectrum. So they're not always extreme. You can have emotions that are softer or gentle. You can have emotions that are very volatile and very loud and in your face. They're all part of that spectrum. Every emotion you feel is part of the spectrum. Sorry about that. There's one other aspect that we very much would like to reiterate. This has appeared in other videos, but it is important to really understand the energy behind this awareness. If you have somebody who is vibrating at a very low vibration, so you are dealing with somebody who is really angry, let's say, and they try to connect with energy that is very light and bright and loving. They are not, even though they are on a spectrum, they cannot just easily connect. So what happens is if the lower vibrational energy try to leech onto or grab onto that higher vibrational energy to bring it down so that they have the feed of the energy without sort of the more positive attributes, it does not work. Okay, the lower vibration and the higher vibration cannot just mesh because somebody wills it to be so. As you are seeing, as you move through the elevations of third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, it is a process. And so everything must be, and likewise, if you have somebody who is vibrating at a much more positive or higher, lighter vibration, when they view acts that are on the lower end, be it cruelty, whatever, cruelty, abuse, etc., they understand that they can just simply not smother that behavior with love. Because again, the vibrations are not in sync with each other. It almost requires sort of a moving towards center. And this is the problem. Let's just get sidetracked from it. This is the problem with energy vampires. They try to steal energy that is much more light-filled than they are, because that is what they're craving to feed on. And that is often where you will see situations where good people end up sort of corrupted by this sort of perpetual, it's not one shot, it's like a constant exposure that sort of drains and depletes. That is why everybody should always be very vigilant about the energy that surrounds them and keeping themselves safe and protected. Now, there are some souls that have had tragedy, great difficulties, who end up slipping down into a lower vibration, a harsher vibration, simply in reaction to the painful difficulties of life. In the process of living in the physical, it is very easy, and in fact necessary, to embrace the physical. And in the process of embracing, you lose track of the fact that, in fact, you are everlasting. You cannot be destroyed. You really are invincible. That part of you that is your soul, the energy of you, is absolutely invincible. But in order to thrive in physical reality, that knowledge, that awareness is sort of shifted towards the back. And so even those people who know and are clear about that can absolutely still react in ways that show fear and anxiety if they feel their safety and their security is threatened. It is part of the human condition. You also have some energy, some souls, who simply, life after life, take the opportunities to try to correct a behavior. But there has been so much repetition, and they have not taken the time to gain the healing and the clarity that comes from a period of deep reflection and healing between physical experiences. And so very often you will see people with this darker energy seem to have lifetimes that repeat far more quickly than most, because they're not taking the time. Eventually, some of those souls can become so darkened and so corrupted that they must be then housed or taken to a place of intense stillness. Ultimately, one hopes healing. That place is not hell. Hell does not exist in physical form. It is about conscious awareness. It is about thought. It is about what you believe. If you believe you're going to hell, you will go to hell. But understand, the hell is a figment of your imagination. It is a creation. Because, of course, in energy form, understand, manifestation is instantaneous. That which you think is that which you create. So if you think you belong in hell, you will create that instantly. And until your thought process change, you will stay in hell. Evil is simply backwards. It is simply living without the light. It is dismissing or minimizing or simply not even acknowledging the power and the energy of the higher vibrations and of the light-filled energies, which is why you are always so encouraged to stay in those places, because that energy amplifies upon itself in amazing and magical ways. And it is always important to be able to harness and draw forward that energy as you move through your lifetimes to keep yourselves in a higher vibration, a vibration that is simply more light-filled. So then how is it that you can actually deal with or even combat that lower vibrational, evil, hateful energy? How do you make that work? Well, energy work is a huge part of it. Where there is dark energy, there will often be a grouping of beings who in a continual, ongoing basis, send light to those beings in the eternal hope that they will see it, they will welcome it, they will accept it. And that some of that dark can be lightened. It can start a process where the vibration loses some of its heaviness and it shifts to a more light-filled vibration. This goes on everywhere all of the time. You simply cannot see it, but trust that when there are people who are truly living backwards, there are beings around them who are sending them all of the energy, all of the light, all of the love that they can send, so that that soul has it for its disposal should they choose to acknowledge it and accept it. One of the ways that certainly the Soulprint family has found is by doing these positive energy circles that you do. They are powerful, they are profound, they have huge ripples as they move through the universe, as they move through that unending energy of all. When you try to harness a lower vibrational energy using the same energy. So when you react to anger with anger, rage to rage, when you lash out because you feel you're being, lashed at, it only causes an amplification of that energy. Exactly like when you meet loving energy with loving energy, you create an amplification of that energy. And so when you are trying to bring balance, you have to approach that lower vibrational energy gently, with compassion, with an understanding that every journey has value. And by witnessing others' journeys, there really can be insights and wisdom or awarenesses gained. As the momentum slowly builds and increases to surround that which is darker and heavier and bring it light, a shift starts to take place, a shift happens. And if the momentum continues, there can be healing. Lower vibrational energy can ultimately be sent into the divine, into the light for transmutation. But always understand the emotional spectrum of a lifetime in physical form is vast. And one must always be aware that what they feel, they think, they say, manifests itself one way or the other. Sometimes there is this mistaken idea that that which is dark and evil is somehow outside the realm of the divine. But if the divine is what has created everything, all things, in that eternal yin-yang dance of life, that eternal balance, then those lower vibrations were also created for the lesson, the wisdom, the insights, that they bring. You cannot eradicate the lower vibrational energies, but what you can do is work to lift those energies. But never think that you're going to completely eradicate them, because the balance is the lesson of the earth. As we have said before, it is balancing those two energies and finding that center where the greatest good can be done for the greatest number. And once that center is in place, you can start shifting it in one direction or the other, because energy is forever, ever, ever in motion. And so every moment of time must be perfect for the moment it is in, because it has lasted exactly that long, a moment. That is why you are so encouraged to stay in the light. Stay present. Be aware of what is your world in this moment. And the more aware you are, the more you are able to shift and move your life in the directions you wish to take it. So one does not fight evil with evil. One does not fight a war with a war. One understands that it is a slow process of infusing light into situations so they can be lifted up from the energy and the place that they are in. That is why you will see worldwide that protests that do not turn violent do the absolute most amount of positive energy work, moving towards a more light-filled choice and change. Thank you for the opportunity to once again share our wisdom and our light. We remain at this time Masudius. Okay, there you have it. Until next time, stand in your power and stand in your light. Bye for now.